Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell, give 'em a hand, and let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town, of New York town.
What a game! What a win on Keith's big day, number 17. The Mets walk it off. 5-4 is your victory here in Game 3 of a 4-game set against the Miami Marlins. How's it going, everybody? Thank you guys all so much for chiming in for the latest post-game show here on the channel, folks. I'm going to be deep diving everything that you need to know about the latest Mets dub here. Some injuries that transpired, unfortunately, in today's game. How serious are they? That's what we'll be deep diving. I'll get to some of your comments as well, folks. This will be a shorter show. Just letting you guys know right now, I can't go any longer than really upwards of 20 minutes or so, because I'm on a tight schedule today. Mets had to go to extras and give me my heart palpitations per usual, but at least the Amazons leg out the victory. Wasn't the prettiest dub, but they get the job done for Keith. That is what I want more than anything, folks. I was praying to the baseball gods that the Mets could come out tonight and at minimum just get the victory for Keith, and they do it in probably the most dramatic fashion they possibly could. So guys, let's get those W's in the chat. Spam them right now here in the live show. People on replay, make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. How are you feeling after the latest Mets victory now, folks? They thankfully have no chance of losing this series, and they look for this series dub tomorrow, which will be a huge one. Taijuan Walker, Sandy Alcantara, pitching duel that we will see right before our eyes around 1:40 p.m. Eastern time. I'm pumped up, though. This was a crazy game, a whirlwind. There were positives, there were negatives, but all in all, the Mets get the flukiest walk-off known to man there in the 10th and extras, and that is how they secure another victory here in this 4-game set. How we doing, Mets fans? Let's get some love in the chat. Let's get some hype, all that great things. Again, folks, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Greatly appreciate. I got so much to deep dive on this game that was ridiculous, and I don't have as much of a time frame as I would like. Like I said, guys, I can't go for an hour like I usually do. I can go at most probably 20 minutes today, maybe 25. I am really tight on schedule, unfortunately. But however, let's deep dive this game. Let's share these reactions, and don't worry, guys, I will be live tomorrow for the series finale post-game show, and then I will be recording my podcast for the Bleav in Queens pod, in which, yes, our third and final co-host in a couple episodes is in fact going to be a former New York Met, so stay tuned for that. But we got a lot of deep dive, like I said. Big win for the Mets. Crazy win, a hectic one. My heart's still trying to calm down from the palpitations I just endured. I'm sure a lot of you Mets fans, if not all, you feel the exact same way. This was just such a whirlwind of a game for the Mets. And you had, again, the beautiful ceremony. And I would just like to first start off today's show. That's why we have a thumbnail with Keith. But really, I have to give him massive props to Steve Cohen and the entire Mets organization for coming out, paying homage to their veterans that have been there, done that, and were crucial parts in the Mets and their success in their 60-year existence. Keith Hernandez, arguably the best defensive first baseman of all time, a bona fide Hall of Famer. The fact that that man isn't in the Hall yet is a travesty in itself, but at least he gets his number. A beautiful ceremony. So happy for Keith and the entire Hernandez family and friends. It was just beautiful. It was a sold-out crowd, over 43,000 there in Citi Field today. How could you not love with what the Mets were able to do to present for the legend himself and Keith Hernandez? Now in the booth, but again, known for being an absolute legend on the field there on first base. Even had a beautiful throw there to his brother from first base to home. It was just awesome. So happy for Keith. He deserved that ceremony 1,000%. Could not have been better. But talking about, guys, what was an awesome time that we saw there for Keith Hernandez. And yeah, let's spam some 17s in the chat. I would love to see that, guys. Get some 17 hype in the chat right now, in the comments down below too. This was Keith Hernandez Day, so regardless, I was going to be happy with the Mets and the organization. However, a walk-off win definitely makes me feel better. There's no denying that whatsoever. But guys, let's talk about the Mets victory. How did they get here? You had Cookie Carrasco on the bump for the Amazons. He went 5.2 strong, surrendering only 2 earned runs, 7 hits, 5 strikeouts, 92 pitches. His season ERA now is 4.55. But I got to give massive props to Cookie as well, guys. This is a man that got in a bases loaded jam with no outs in the first inning, but somehow, someway managed to get out of that jam unscathed without a problem. Absolutely nuts what you saw there for Cookie Carrasco. Numerous innings in which he faced adversity today, and in almost every single one of those innings, he got out of them unscathed until we saw, of course, the 6th inning where he left and Seth Lugo came in. And what has Lugo done all year long? Not be consistent. We saw him give up that damn run there or two. Thankfully, the Mets were able to get that second runner, Jesus Sanchez, out at home. Beautiful relay from Nimmo to Gourmet. Told him that was great. But let's talk about the Mets offense. Again, it wasn't great today. There's no denying that. This was a Mets offense that, again, struggled with runners in scoring position. They had the home run ball, but they didn't have much in between. And that's something that they struggled with yesterday. And they lost yesterday in game 2, in which Chris Bassett pitched a gem. 6 innings or so, had 2 earned runs. That's it. Bassett looked great in his first outing back from being on the COVID list. However, the Mets, even with their struggles today, were still able to find a way to get a victory. And hopefully, again, this is more momentum swing that they can have. This is a Mets team that only had 5 hits, the Marlins 4, right? It wasn't pretty whatsoever. But you see there, we advance in the 4th. Cookie with a jam as well. A runner on third base with only 1 out. He gets out of that jam unscathed, as Cookie Carrasco has done so well this year at times. Not consistently, but definitely at times he's been able to avoid jams to a higher degree than what we saw in the 2021 campaign when he first came up with the Mets, coming from his trade with Cleveland. In the bottom of the 4th, however, this is where we start to see some issues with the Mets. One of 2 major injuries transpired today, folks. We don't know to the degree, so we're going to find out. However, Starling Marte, when he was in the dugout, exited today's game. Ender Inciarte would come in and make a beautiful flying catch there on the wall in right field later in this one. But Marte exits early. We're all wondering why that is. And at the time of being live here, folks, Starling Marte he has a left groin tightness or soreness, one of the two. He has a groin situation going on. I'm actually going to check my notes right now. Yes, Starling Marte left today's game, folks, with left groin tightness. And then James McCann, that would depart in that play that we saw later in this one after the beautiful tag he made on Jesus Sanchez there at home to only keep it a tied ball game there, even though it's not like it would last long, because Seth Lugo again would blow it there when he came in for Cookie Carrasco in the 6th. James McCann would exit today's game with discomfort in his left side. It looked like an oblique injury. It looked like he really stretched just a little bit too much. So we don't know the statuses of them. Fingers crossed that neither of them get put on the IL, because that will really hurt, especially Marte. And McCann just came back from his injury. This is the last thing this Mets team needs. Patrick Mazeika, who's catching in AAA along with Francisco Alvarez. Mazeika was pulled from today's game in AAA, which would tell you that, yeah, he's going to be with the team more than likely, which could tell you that maybe McCann is going to be an IL stint. Fingers crossed that isn't the case, but I'm just putting you guys up to date with what we saw, because it's never a good thing to see injuries transpire for this team, let alone someone to Starling Marte's caliber. That is a huge X factor in this Mets lineup, both offensively and defensively. And then McCann, who has been known for his offense, but has been a really strong backstop this season. Thank you so much, Nina, for the $2 donation in the chat. If you guys don't know, that's my beloved girlfriend, Nina. Love her. Thank you so much for the dono. As always, girl, hype in the to chat to her as always. But as we fast forward this one, guys, let's get to the point on where the Mets were at least able to muster some offense. And that would start here in the 6th. You see bases loaded. Anderson, however, no, this is going back to how the Marlins scored. Pardon me. Anderson got that RBI double, like we said, but it was only 1 run. Then after that, there was a fluky play. Unfortunately, Lugo, the first pitch he throws was a wild pitch. Nito was looking for a ball down, gets a fastball like way up high or an off speed. Can't handle it. That's how the Marlins get the lead 2-1 at that point. Because prior to that, the Mets got their first run of the day earlier in this one, and it was definitely needed because, pardon me, can't even speak right now, folks. The Mets got their first run there in the 4th thanks to a Pete Alonso solo home run. So backtracking quickly, Alonso, who was on an over 10 skid and hasn't had a RBI in his past, 10 games now, still somehow leading the league, or at least the NL, with 69 RBIs. He gets a solo bomb finally there that we saw in the 4th on an off-speed pitch. Looked like a slider from the southpaw, down and in. Finally, after looking silly in his at-bats yesterday and looking silly against lefties for the majority of the year, finally barreled a baseball and pulled that bad boy to give the Mets their first run of the day. Then, like I said, they would surrender there 2 in the 6th. But in the bottom of the 6th, the Mets would bounce right back, thanks to the legend himself and Francisco Lindor. Lindor had a solid day at the plate, especially when you look at that 2-run shot he had leaning from the right side of the plate, which is great. He had a home run yesterday. The Mets lost and had another big home run again today. And that was so important. And gets the same guy, Okert, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Actually, no, it wasn't Okert. Pardon me. I'm trying to see who it was. Was it against Braxton Garrett? Yeah, it was against Braxton Garrett, the starter. But when we look at Lindor had that beautiful play that we'll get to later in the day that Escobar messed up. But I really liked what I saw from Lindor today in a lot of ways. Back-to-back days with a home run for the Mets star shortstop. And just like that, the Mets have themselves a 3-2 lead. But however, we advance a little bit further, folks. We get to the 7th. Cooper and Manley are thrown out of the game after arguing, some decisions made by the umpire there. Nothing happens, however. We get to the 8th, and Jesus Aguilar hits a solo bomb off of Adam Ottavino to make it a tied ball game, 3-3. Eder Inciarte, right after that home run, would make a beautiful catch there and right that you guys probably saw if you're watching the game. So we get to the bottom of the 8th, folks, and the Mets look like they have something cooking here. But again, the struggles with runners in scoring position continue. And Bobby, here's the thing. I understand that you care about the contract. I care about Lindor coming up today. I'm going to call him a legend as much as I want. I can care less if it ruffles your feathers, with all due respect. Let's get now into, folks, the bottom of the 8th here. Luis Gourmet with a leadoff double, which was strong after some poor base running the inning before, which was by Eduardo Escobar trying to go into second. I don't know what he was doing. Eddie had a terrible day, both at the plate and defensively, that we saw yesterday too. Escobar has just been a headache more often than not, folks. It really is frustrating. However, we see a leadoff by Luis Gourmet there in the bottom of the 8th, folks, to give the Mets a runner in scoring position with no outs. We advance forward to Nito with a perfect bump that would have a runner on third with only 1 out. Surely you would think the Mets would be able to score here. However, they would not. Thanks to, unfortunately, Brandon Nimmo gets a walk. Runners on first and third. Jeff McNeil comes in for a pinch hit. McNeil is going to be away. As we saw, he's going to be on the list because his wife is having a child, so he'll be away tomorrow. And we'll miss at minimum 1 game that we're going to see here in this Braves series starting Monday. But then we see he pops up, shallow outfield. Runner can't advance from third there. And then, unfortunately, there was a final out. Francisco Lindor there with a ground out ends it after trying to leg one down to first baseline. And the Mets are a tied ball game. Then we get into the 10th, the extras here, folks. And you see John Birdie, who has always been a pest for the Mets this year, guys. And I love you too, Bobby. Okay. Ditto, my man. Again, the reason why I jumped on you is because everyone just always gripes on me any single time I talk positive on Lindor. It's not personal towards you, and I apologize if I came off a certain way. Seriously, I mean that. Mets released Chasen Shreve. Love to see that. That was actually just posted. He was DFA'd, and now he was officially released. So Chasen Shreve is no longer a part of the Mets organization after having a beyond subpar start in the first half of the year as one of the Mets' 2 southpaws in the bullpen. Was just posted by Michael Mayer of Mets Rise here on Twitter, guys. But we advance forward in the 10th, guys, and you see John Birdie. And John Birdie, of course, gets an RBI double. Billy Hamilton gets home with ease. He was the runner. But this was a play that should have never happened, folks. We all saw it. Francisco Lindor deep in shallow outfield there, guys. For short, gets a beautiful snag. And what does Lindor do? Makes a proper move and throws to third base right away to get Hamilton out there. But instead, Escobar is sleeping. I don't know. Did he have his freaking head in his ass? I had no clue what Escobar was doing. He was nowhere near third. Lindor makes a perfect bullet there by third base. It gets past Escobar. That gets it to the backstop. And just like that, the lead is for the Miami Marlins. However, with some poor fundies by the Mets there in the top of the 8th, poor fundies by the Marlins would endure there in the bottom of the 10th. Top of the 10th, bottom of the 10th. Again, I can't talk. Emotions are riding high, as you would expect here. So we get to the bottom of the 10th, folks. Tomas Nido, in a 2-out situation, somehow, someway, gets a soft dribbler down the third baseline, and Brian Anderson, just like Eduardo Escobar, what are you doing, baby? I don't understand. It gets under his glove somehow, trickles past. Brandon Nimmo is the runner on second, gets himself second at home. It's a tied ball game, and then that was literally the reverse Bill Buckner. That's all I could say. Not at first, but at third. That was actually hilarious that happened. But then after that, folks, we see, Brandon Nimmo wasn't the one that scored. He was the one that would actually end up coming up huge here for the next at-bat, guys. Brandon Nimmo at the plate. He gets a little comebacker that gets to the pitcher. The pitcher, however, hearing from the 40+ thousand fans in Citi Field screaming that Nido is going towards home, and they are not able to make the throw to first. Nimmo's safe. He doesn't even get a base hit. The Mets walk it off there, folks. 5-4 is your final. What a crazy one. Again, emotions were riding high. My heart is still palpitating. But what I do know is that the Mets desperately needed this win. Doesn't have to be the prettiest win. You just got to win ball games. Talking about a walk-off with emotions. No better way, I guess, in that sense to win a 1 for Keith Hernandez, right, for the number 17 retirement game. So love that from what we saw from the Mets and Keith and everyone involved here. This was just an electric game. Again, not the prettiest. They got the job done, folks. And as you can see from Wardy's top 5, we got Tomas Nido. That's my number 1 star, 2 for 2 with an RBI, a double, the 2 runs scored. Francisco Lindor, 1 for 4 with the home run, the 2 RBIs, a run scored. Brandon Nimmo, 0 for 4, and he wins the game, however, even though he didn't have a base knock, thanks to that throwing error by the pitcher, guys. Pete Alonso, 1 for 4 with the pitch missile, the solo shot to snap his over 10 skid, and 10 straight games without an RBI. The RBI and the run scored, and I got to give it to Edwin Diaz. I love that move by Buck there that we saw on the top of the 9th. He went with Diaz in a non-save situation, tied game, and Diaz is just absolute money. Sounds like a day that ends in Y. 1 inning pitch, 0 hits, 0 earned runs, 2 strikeouts. When you look at the Mets today, folks, Cookie was drawn. Seth Lugo did not give up an earned run, but he blew it completely with that wild pitch earlier in the game. Lugo's been so inconsistent. I'd rather Adonis Medina, who's in AAA with the Mets right now, over someone like Lugo any and every day of the week. That's how annoyed I've been with Lugo as of late. He just has not been consistent. Adam Ottavino, he gave up that home run on an 0-2 count. That was frustrating. That was a ball that should not have been placed where it was. He wasn't happy about it. That was a slight gripe I will give on Adam, who I have defended plenty this year. Another day where he gives up a home run to the Marlins, though. It's been a reoccurring theme. Not loving that. Again, though, Adam has been money a lot of times. Just unfortunately did not have a good pitcher to Aguilar. Diaz and then Holderman had a scoreless inning there in the top of the 10th, folks. We love to see that. Because, again, that was an error. It wasn't on Holderman for the Marlins scoring. It was just, they called it an error on Lindor somehow, when we all know, and their mother, that was Eduardo Escobar that messed up the play that should have been by the third base bag instead of somehow sprinting the third base after being at a standstill for a minute, not really realizing on what he needed to do. No less, the Mets get the W. That was huge. They don't lose any ground in the division, and the Mets look for the series dub tomorrow, guys. So, guys, I'm going to answer a couple donations quick. Then I unfortunately have to get out of here. I'm on a tight schedule today. Like I said, I'm over an hour late to being with friends and family festivities. So I do apologize, guys. I thought the game was going to end earlier, but of course, in one day where I'm on a tight schedule over the weekend, trying to still do a post-game show, we have here the Mets go to extras. That's just my luck. However, some quick updates, guys, that you saw from yesterday. Jacob deGrom, latest rehab start, which was yesterday there in Port St. Lucie. 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 6 strikeouts on 36 pitches. And his next rehab start will be with AAA Syracuse, guys. He is getting that much closer to returning the rotation. He'll be with AAA Syracuse next Thursday for his next rehab stint. Jeff McNeil, again, will be having a kid, so he'll be on the the paternity list starting tomorrow, and he'll be at minimum gone for one, if not multiple games in the Braves series in Atlanta starting Monday. Marte McCann exited with various injuries. Hopefully that's nothing crazy with their ailments and they don't have IL stints. And then the big one of all, Keith Hernandez, night baby, retiring that number. That was absolutely phenomenal. But let me get these donations, guys. And unfortunately, I have to get out of here. Normally where I cut it off for people on replay is where I have to cut it off for everyone today. Again, given my tight schedule. But don't worry. Like I said, I'll be back live tomorrow. And then, of course, I will be recording my podcast that'll be out early Monday for you guys prior to the Braves series. So stay tuned for that. Elliot, thank you so much for the $2 donation. LGM, I saw Keith play live in the 80s. Great one. I know you did, my man. I know you saw the 86 Mets. That's great. No less, Elliot, thank you so much for the donation. Love you, my man. And let's see here from John. John with the $5 donation. Guys, continue smashing on like and subscribe on if you're just chiming in or watching on replay. Greatly appreciate, guys. Help us get to 16K subs for next short-term goal on the channel. Always appreciate it. Who cares how much Lindor makes? Has 15 home runs with half a season left. Don't understand Lindor hate. Lindor is casually on pace for 30 home runs, 100-plus RBIs this year. But again, God forbid if this man hits below 250, then we're going to lose our minds at any point in the season. Appreciate that donation. Thank you kindly for that, John. Robert with the $5 donation. Robert Powers, great supporter here on the channel. Thank you so much for that as well. And actually, guys, Anthony DeComo said that DeGrom's going to make his rehab start Wednesday or Thursday. I think it's Thursday. Maybe it will be Wednesday, but he said either of those 2 days. I was just reported on Twitter. Marvin, great member on the channel. Thank you so much for the dono, Marvin. For some reason, everyone blames Lindor on that play. No. I was looking on Twitter, and thankfully there was a large sum of Mets fans that were defending Lindor, that Lindor made the stellar stop. If it wasn't for him, then that is easily a base knock that scores a run regardless. Lindor made a great stop, made a great throw. That just on Escobar for not being in the right place where he's supposed to be. And what's up, Milo? Appreciate you in the chat. But yeah, thank you so much for that donation, Marvin. Appreciate you greatly. Dave, thank you so much. Magic win, but more injuries. More injuries indeed, Dave. It was a magical win, so hopefully, like a magical win, we get some magical updates on the health statuses over the next 24 hours that neither of them are on the IL, or at worst, just a 10-day IL. But again, I'm praying that isn't the case for Marte or the likes of McCann. With that being said, though, guys, thank you guys all so much for watching. My apologies once more. I got to get out of here. I'm on a tight schedule this weekend. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Enjoy this Mets win 5-4 in Game 3 of the 4-game set against the Miami Marlins. I'll be back live tomorrow after the series finale, and then I'll be recording my podcast out for early Monday. Until then, have a great rest of your day, night, evening, folks, whenever you're watching this. And no matter what, guys, let's go Mets. I'll be back again tomorrow, everyone. Have a great one.